Welcome to the JAMODI podcast, where we interview coaches and leaders to find out not just what they do, but how they do what they do. Becoming the best version of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. How does individual skill work into your daily practice?
This was something that if I evaluated what I was doing in 2014 to what I would be doing now or what I'd do with no matter what level team, I think the best thing that happened to me was being to step out of probably the resulting actual idea of mindset of winning games and trying to compete and just become a devil's advocate of everything that I did. Why did we do that? Did I do that because that's what we've always done? Did I do that because that's what my coach did? And trying to kind of reverse engineer the effectiveness of skill development. And so one of the things that we always used to do was make sure we got enough shots up. So I think that's always been important. But this whole idea of high frequency skills, like what do we really need to be working on? How does that connect to the game? And pick apart anything that doesn't, and either recreate it or throw it away, type of an idea. And so to me, everything we do is skill development. And we use the terminology of the idea of like we're never working on just footwork or finishing, like we're working on offense. Like we're playing offense in this skill development drill. We're playing offense in that multi-sided game. They go zone. What are we doing, guys? We're playing offense. There's other ways to do it. There's spacing. There's technique. There's all those different things. But I think streamlining every piece of what we do, developing players into the idea that they're becoming better offensive or defensive players, and not separating the two. I think there's a lot of really good ways to do that, but it started with me with the idea I had to get rid of anything that was just being done. There's a lot of drills that you just see pop up over and over. You see them all the time. And guilty as charged. I would have presented the same thing in the same clinic until I think I was able to step outside that world and say, what am I really getting? What are we really doing there? That kind of idea. So I think it's not only the foundation, but it's in the fabric of everything we do.
That self-evaluation piece is huge. Like how many of us are doing things because our high school coach did it or our college coach did it. Not that everything that they did was wrong or bad, but does it really fit the group that you have? Is there a more efficient way? How many drills, shooting drills or whatever it is are out there that don't replicate what it feels like to be in the game? And the idea of, just getting shots up, right? That phrase that's kind of word vomit. That obviously, if there's a plan in place, then it's more than just getting shots up. But I think that's good stuff that all coaches need to think about and evaluate. Is look at our practice plans, look at the things that how do we play and how does it really work into our skill work and how we're preparing the guys.
Absolutely. It's I think the age group all of a sudden I went from recruiting guys that were either really good that I felt like we could develop to be better, or they were ready to go. They were one-year transfers. Those to all of a sudden working with a fifth grader, a seventh grader that didn't make the C team. And if I'm going to train him, if he's going to come, how are we really going to get him better? Because he's not very, very good, one, and two, what's actually even possible within a short amount of time. How can he get better quickly? That idea. And I think that's the neat part of the challenge of that, is that you have to really figure out what works. And if you're doing anything that, and not fluff's the wrong word, but if you're just doing things and it doesn't translate, it's that's magnified when the kid's a lower level player or just a youth player for that matter.
You know that I love all things Micah Lancaster and the I'm Possible way of training. But if you're not careful, and he says this a lot too, you have to help players see the game behind the action or activity that they're doing. Because if not, it's a little bit like a circus, and they're just performing an action, but there's no game connector to it. And finding ways to connect. I think you do that really well And one thing I was just thinking about, what are what are the similarities, or how can you train an incoming freshman on your college team that you have high hopes for, and then a seventh grader? Because I think you're unique in the fact that you've done both. Or what do you see as similarities, differences, challenges between the two?
I think it's the idea of one kind of accepting the reality of what you're working with in regards to what does that seventh grader need right now, like at his level of development. What does he need to be able to be doing first before we can build on that? And then with the older guy, I mean, there's always advanced training, but at the end of the day, it's far more, I guess, more similar than it is different. I
Hmm.
think. I think there's so many things that are just the high frequency things don't change for the most part. A kid in seventh grade being able to simply catch the ball, peek, and play to his left hand efficiently, that may be all that he needs to be able to do right now, and he can't do that at all. And
Hmm.
sometimes that surprises you when you really think of what the game requires.
Right.
The games requires that of you, but I think trying to figure out where they're at and then building. I think that's the key to all of it. And I mean, with our young ones tonight, it's this idea of dribbling the ball, seeing a defender rotating, being able to pick up the dribble, make the decision of it's time to pass and make the pass. I mean, there's a lot going on there, but that's a high frequency skill for them. And so
Mm.
if we can do that with them, it looked better in the live play tonight. And then there's a skill that seventh grader needs that I really believe he could be a better player in a game situation pretty quickly if we
Mm.
focus on the right thing,
Right.
and really try to simplify that.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.